Hello, Internet!
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
And the final part of my Fnaf timeline, where today we're bringing our story to a close by talking about the most complicated and controversial part of the timeline, the end. The moment where we're finally forced to come to some definitive and difficult answers trying to explain what the heck we were watching in Security Breach.
Hit the nay-nay, superstar.
The last two episodes have been about death. The death of Afton's family, the deaths of multiple children, the death of...
Psych!
Fazbear Entertainment was dead. The people were gone too. William was dead. All of them collateral damage to the man in the bunny suit.
All of them collateral damage to the man in the bunny suit.
Everyone the company had ever touched was dead and gone. Well, all except one. Clara Afton.
Oh, brother, this guy's...
She'd been there in the early days, back when things with William were good. They'd had the perfect home, a thriving business, the ideal family. She had watched him change from this irritatingly brilliant man that she had fallen in love with to a drunken monster struggling to hold himself together. And despite her trying to reach out to him in those desperate days, he was just too far gone. She wanted to leave that part of her life behind. She tried to move forward, never wanting to hear the name Freddy Fazbear again. But then, the paperwork started to arrive. As Fazbear Entertainment began to close as a corporate entity, suddenly her mail was flooded with notifications, requests, obligations. And now, as a shareholder and sole living member of the Afton family, all copyrights and trademarks of both Afton Robotics and Fazbear Entertainment passed on to her.
That's how Mafia works?
Memories of this past life. William had always been brilliant.
Stop the cap.
This was her chance, and one thought resonated in her head. I will put them back together. I will put them all back together. To reclaim the kids that Fazbear had stolen from her. But how? Looking at William's work now laid out before her, she knew that he had been onto something.
Bruh.
It was almost like there were too many ideas going in too many different directions. It was such an important idea that she reiterated that point to herself. There were too many ideas going in too many different directions. To rebuild her family, she would first need to rebuild the franchise that had stolen them away from her. With ownership over the characters, their licenses, the technology patents, and the Fazbear name, she converted the corporation LLC, a structure for smaller businesses that are usually family-owned. The irony was fitting. From there, she would need Remnant, and lots of it. Remnant was the key. It was a decent idea, but to get the Remnant they required, it needed scale. Dozens, hundreds of animatronics all out there. And with meal delivery apps being all the rage, why not an animatronic delivery service? Order one to celebrate your birthday, your Halloween party. How about a 4th of July picnic? We'll invite Liberty Chico and 4th of July Freddy on over. In a word, it was brilliant. There was just one problem with it. No one trusted the Fazbear name. The company's brand was still mud in the public eye. No one would want to hire animatronics from the restaurant franchise known for murdering children. Nothing kills a party quite like the threat of death, you know. So, she needed to find a way to discredit the stories that had come before. She needed to win back the public's affections, reactivate some nostalgia for the spooky stories of their childhoods. She needed a game.
You better stop!
Struggling game developers were a dime a dozen online, most working on their magnum opus between shifts at the Dollar General. So she found one. Steve just picked him out of obscurity, the right mix of desperate and doofus, and he fell right in line, as expected, delivering stupid little things with dumb generic names like Mangle's Quest, Balloon Boy's Air Adventure, Five Nights at Freddy's, bad gameplay with even worse graphics. But hey, they got the job done. People were suddenly talking about the clues inside of these things, searching for the hidden lore. They were actively making jokes about dead kids at pizzerias. Suddenly infused with cash, she built the largest, most ambitious project yet, the Mega Pizzaplex. She'd seen down in his bunker that William had gotten very close to replicating artificial humans using animatronic technology. His shaggy brown hair, his favorite striped shirt, even down to small details that no one would notice, like the band-aid on his left knee. William's research had even found ways of making animatronics that could bleed and process food. In a corner of the room, she even made a makeshift dinner table, a reminder of their happier days. The family recreated 2 brothers, a sister, a father.
Psych!
The plan was working. She had to keep going. Next was William.
No!
And she knew exactly where he was, in the ruins of that old Freddy Fazbear's pizza place where Henry had trapped him. In fact, that's specifically why she insisted on building the Pizzaplex there. Digging through the wreckage, she found him. He was right. But more important than recovering his body was recovering his mind. In his current state, he was comatose, an empty shell. Severe brain damage starts at temperatures over 108 degrees Fahrenheit, 42 degrees Celsius. And years of repeated fires had burned his brain to goo. And sure enough, there it was, buried in piles of old animatronic CPUs, a record of Afton himself.
Huh?
Mrs. Afton wanted a surrogate daughter. Her darling Elizabeth would have been a young woman at this point if she had lived. Could she have just rebuilt her like Gregory? Sure, but she decided against it because she wanted an actual human mother-daughter connection. Well, that, and it would be redundant and narratively unsatisfying to have 2 robot kids in the same family.